Nice. Oh, Metroid Dread! Why are they showing my game? Oh my god.
Metroid Dread first turned up as a
God
rumor
damn,
in
I'm live. I
2005,
should
even
be
got a name
fired.
drop in a terminal in Metroid Prime 3. In
I'm
many
just
ways,
testing
the
the audio
Metroid Dread of
quality.
2021 feels like that 2D-ish
Oh,
Metroid
shit.
game we should have gotten 16 years ago when
Right.
the Metroid series was, please forgive me here, in its prime. It's not often that we get to say this about a game
Wait,
that
hold
finally
up.
emerges
Mr.
from
Prime
development
4? Hold up,
purgatory,
hold up,
but
hold
the wait has
up.
been worth it. The epic delay allows Metroid Dread to use the Switch's power to greatly improve upon what could have been
For
accomplished
real.
on previous systems,
my
and makes
God.
the supposed conclusion
I'm
to
actually
Metroid's
watching it
mainline
now.
story a grand finale.
Review. Okay, I might post it separately. So.
Everything works in handheld form, but you really have to dock the system to get the full experience.
Yeah.
Playing on a big HD screen reveals sprawling alien scenes,
Unless you have an OLED
diorama-like
Switch.
backgrounds, lit by the dynamic glow of Samus's arsenal and projectiles. Also, thanks to the Switch, the action never seems to drop a frame. That's important, since combat is lightning fast, and it just keeps getting faster with each power-up, which
Yeah.
in turn is great, because it reduces the backtracking time as you blast through fodder, and later lets you make
Fodder.
incredibly
I mean,
short
yeah,
work of
like
once
this.
powerful enemies. It reminds me that one issue I had with Samus Returns on 3DS was the cramped controls hindering the new twitchy combat.
yeah, it's on
Here
the
on the Switch,
3DS,
it's
but
much
yeah,
more
yeah.
comfortable and more fun. The counter system from Samus Returns, which requires careful timing to react to visual cues from enemies foreshadowing their attacks, is just one of many moves, including dashes,
Peach!
feints, dodges, and timed charge attacks that make up your arsenal. It's a lot of buttons, and the Pro Controller is really your best option. If I had to beat a boss,
Okay, I don't know about that. That depends on the player.
These are some of the best boss fights I've ever played in any action platformer. They seemed impossible at
What?
first, but
That's a big ass
post-victory, I
compliment.
felt like they made
Thanks.
me a better player.
That guy made the game and shit. Oh, he's talking about the Emmys. Emmys scare me. Scare
The
the fuck out of
EMMI
me.
or EMMI encounters are less
He
what
really
you
said
think of as boss
EMMI, what a
fights and more
nerd.
akin to stealth missions, and sometimes a manic race to the finish line if you are spotted. Regions of the map are essentially one-hit kill zones, which makes another new to Metroid
Unless
feature
you're
of
good at the
Dread,
game and
which
counter
happens just
them.
outside
But
these
yeah.
zones, extremely welcome.
Counter, come on. Show it off. You motherfucker.
One aspect of boss fights that I'm not too keen on, however, is the use of counters as QuickTime events. In
This
some
mother-
fights, it seems like shooting a boss hardly matters while you dodge and await the next move you can counter. I would like to be able to use my 200-some stock of missiles to just destroy a boss the old-fashioned way. Isn't that why I'm collecting all those
Wait.
missile expansions in the first place?
You fucker, you can. You don't have to counter. My brother beat the whole game without countering. You can play it either way you want. Just because you're trash? No.
Speaking of collectibles,
Not trash, but
in many
the
ways,
counter is
missile
not
tanks
necessary
and
to
other
beat the
upgrades are
game.
hidden.
It's really not.
Exquisite in Metroid Dread. There are some truly
Well,
inscrutable
I'm not gonna
puzzles
say no
that left me
spoilers,
thinking
but
about solutions
there's only
even
one
between
boss.
play sessions. And going for a 100% run is a
Even
great way to
then,
experience the
it's
intricate
not
way this world is put
100%
together. If you aren't a completionist,
necessary.
you can choose to shoot through Metroid Dread in a shorter burst. According to the game log, I spent 11 hours on my first run, reaching 82% completion.
Yeah,
But that
better than
figure
me. I
clearly
spent-
excludes
no, actually, no, I
pause
did 8
screens,
hours.
which you might
Never
spend a lot of time on because the map itself has been overhauled, and sometimes studying it is the only clue you'll have for your next step. I suspect many will turn to a strategy guide for this, since Metroid Dread does
Oh,
little
he
to
did-
direct
he
you to
did
your
82.
next objective. But I like this change.
Yeah, I did
as a
only
general
50
opponent of hand-holy
something.
waypoints, and especially in
Yeah,
a
never
game
mind.
that
His ass was probably,
emphasizes
like, hella
probing every
distracted.
block.
Ooh.
The map and really the world itself isn't
I just wanna
static.
be one of the first
it goes
people
through
to
some
beat
pretty
it.
interesting changes, increasing the strength of enemies and altering access to areas. I won't spoil the late game tricks for you, but while they aren't
Late game
Castlevania
tricks.
Symphony of the Night's Upside Down Castle, they are quite cool. I'm not sure I needed another length of game added onto the end of this one anyway. Dread gets the pacing right, ramping up the speed at which you get new tools
Yes.
and access new map areas to something of a fever pitch.
Razor
It's up to you to pick a
Iskra?
point,
Who's that?
take a breath, and
Oh,
backtrack
that's-
if you'd like.
oh, the
Otherwise, you can power
sponsor.
through to the end, though I would not recommend it.
Oh, is it? Okay, heard.
Nintendo has touted Dread as the final chapter of at least one Metroid storyline, and whatever you're thinking that means, it's crazier! Despite the twistier elements of the plot, there's one series peak moment when Samus does something completely unexpected. It's subtle, and I can't wait for fans to experience it. That subtlety extends to much of the story as well. There isn't a lot to it. A bounty hunter, a bunch of innocent but very hungry aliens, and
My
of course
profile
a
picture
new
probably
reason
ruins
for how
that,
you lost
but-
all your great weapons and equipment. I found it refreshing that, whereas
Jeez.
games like Other M went way too far in building out the world of Metroid and ended
Yes,
up with some
thank
pretty
you for
awkward
saying
results,
that.
Dread shuts that world out, focuses on hunting and being hunted. The sparse story and setting that runs you through
That's the
subterranean
nicest way to
oceans,
say the
jungles,
other M
laboratories,
sucked
and ruins
ass with
is a
how it
much
made
better
Metroid.
match for that classic Metroid feel.
verdict or
Metroid Dread gets so much right after so many years that I'm almost resentful that we didn't get the same game and a few sequels starting back in 2005. But instead, I'm incredibly happy to play a Metroid that is back at the top of its game. Even though it's the latest in a decades-old series, Dread has just enough clever innovation to balance its familiarity. The universally recognizable mix of tough puzzles, tougher boss fights, ever-evolving exploration options, and intricate level design that recent games like Hollow Knight and Ori get so right has an origin point. It's Metroid. I love those games.
9
but
out
the
of
Metroid
10?
team,
Let's
the mix of old and new developers
go!
now, have shown that they know how
Thank
to
you.
do it best.
Fuck yeah, that's what it deserves. I mean, I would say 10 out of 10. Like, can't even critique it at all, but fuck it, yeah.
For more from Nintendo, check out our reviews of the Switch OLED model. And WarioWare, get it together. And for everything else, stick with IGN.
Man, I was just testing my fucking settings that someone reacted to all this interview, bro. They had the face cam on. Fuck.
Halo Infinite marks